Action.
La hora del Eskwilax en vivo desde 2015.
What's going on, everybody?
Hi.
The Eskwilax Hour 179. Today is the day. We're here finally sitting with our friend Emilia. We have been talking about this interview for the past, 4 years that we were supposed to sit down, have a quick chat. And as you guys can see, we have our fits going.
Halloween time.
It's Halloween time. And thank you guys for being here. The Eskwilax Hour 179. I'm your host, Efrain. We bring you art, paintings, local news, a little everything that has to do with art. And of course, we have Henry the Banana on the cameras today. And we'll show it later. You guys
show
can
a
see it later.
snapshot.
Yeah, because he's also in character. But thank you guys for being here again. Appreciate every single viewer. And yeah, we're gonna chat it up with Strawberry Cruz.
Hi. I can't look at you. This is how dedicated we are.
Yes, we are making art,
Woohoo.
visual art.
Damn.
Thank
Feels
you
weird
again.
being on this side of the camera now.
Yeah, I mean, she's been letting us use her space for a bit now, and she's always behind the camera,
Yeah.
kind of watching as we interview the guests. But today she's the guest.
Yay. Damn.
All right, the Cruz. How are you today?
I'm okay. I'm tired.
Okay, tired.
Tired, yeah. It's been a long month.
Yes,
Um,
yes, it is.
It always gets really busy at this time of the year. So, Dia de los Muertos. Well, not too much Halloween stuff, but like the classes and everything. I have to make sure I'm prepared for the classes at Plaza de la Raza, workshops, all that fun stuff. But I'm running on very little sleep, so don't mind me if I'm a little twitchy. So, just FYI.
We'll get that extra caffeine in, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, thank you for being here. It's truly an honor having you on our show, because we have had you come and visit us like way back then with the what's the brujitas.
Yeah, with my friend Yvonne.
Uh-huh.
And that's how I met y'all. So a nice little full circle moment. It was
Yes.
dope. But damn. Yeah, it feels like it doesn't feel like that long ago, but at the same time it feels like it's a lifetime ago at this point.
Yeah. I mean, you as an artist. I mean, it's been what, like 5 years since that happened when we met the first time.
I think so. Damn, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anything pre-COVID feels like 20 years ago. So maybe probably like 5 years.
Yeah, because I mean, we've been keeping up with your work for since the day we met. All your work through like the paintings, shows, and just the different ways you put your art out there, and it's awesome to see.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It's very inspiring. If because I've watched like I was saying, like I watched some of your work. How it goes from one stage to the next stage, and then you're like, dang, that's awesome.
Oh, thanks. No, yeah, that's why I like putting on like the progress time lapses, because I personally like watching it from other artists, since we all use very different techniques, or I don't know, there's just different ways to approach art, and you sometimes get so stuck on your own like this is how I do it. This is the right way. So sometimes it's good to, look at two other artists and uh, you'll realize, oh, you can do this instead of this, or I don't know. It's just cool to be able to see that. So I think that's why I like sharing it too. Um, but yeah.
No, it's great. Like I was saying, I've seen like your interviews. Like before this, I watched a couple of your interviews,
Oh.
and I've learned a lot. Like the fact that in one of them you said you were born in like San Diego,
Mhm.
and then moved to like TJ, and then moved out here again.
Yeah. I mean, we were barely in Tijuana. I mean, we were there for 3 years and then we moved to Simi Valley. Um, but I do have a lot of memories visiting Tijuana because most of my childhood, my parents would still travel there almost every weekend. And then my summers I would spend with my tita, my mom's mom. Or if not, my dad has family there too. So my tia Luisa had a lot of kids, and that would just be the place to go. Like the instant we got there, it was just like a swarm of kids, like yes, and like running towards us, and like the sticky hands and everything. And it was always really fun. But yeah, wait, what's the question? Oh yeah,
No, no, we
so
were just going over kind of like your upbringing, like like you're saying how all the kids and all your cousins down there.
yeah, I'm really thankful because I got to live that experience. Oddly enough, Camila, my sister, her growing up, she didn't really have she didn't have that. There wasn't a lot of kids around her age. They were either younger or older already. So there was like a little minute there where I guess no one was popping out babies or something. But me growing up, yeah, I had shit ton of cousins and it was always really fun. Like we'd play las escondidas, tag, um, just crazy shit. So I'm really grateful for that.
Do you have a really like a favorite memory?
um, there's a lot. Honestly, just any party that we would go to, um, I just I remember being really excited because it was a time where I could tell that my parents got to enjoy and they felt very childlike. They could be with their fam and just dance, have fun, eat. You could just feel the laughter. Obviously, there's always some kind of drama going on in the background too, but as kids, we're just running around and we're doing our own thing. But I've always felt that energy from them too, that I could tell that this was something really important to them. And yeah, for me, I grew up as a only kid for a minute. My sister didn't come around until I was 12. And being in Simi, I didn't have any close family nearby, and I was really shy too, so not a lot of like super close friends. So going to TJ was always the time where I could be surrounded by, all my cousins and whatnot. And yeah, I don't, there's too many, I think, just in general, when the whole fam got together, to have host parties and whatnot. Those were the best. Those were the good days.
And now when you go visit, do you like see everyone or just here and there? Because everyone kind of like, goes their separate ways.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, it after a while I got caught up too in my own life and stopped visiting as much or stopped being able to go because of work or whatnot. So my parents still traveled here and there, but a lot of things change. That's just the way of life, and people pass away or they move. So my tita passed away a while back, and I know it wasn't the same for my mom. So for a while there, it was weird to go back with her. But recently, we have been going to some family parties, and one of my cousins, who's around my age, just got married. So that was really nice. I got to see a lot of the same fam, but it's just weird, seeing all of us and seeing where we're at now in life and seeing the new generation too. Um, it's bittersweet. It's just one of those moments where you're like, damn, like it just feels like yesterday where we were kids and just like, doing random shit, and now here we are. Like,
Yeah, I mean, when I think stuff like that, I kind of get teary eyed
yeah,
because you're like, damn, like I remember being like yay high and just no
yeah,
cares, no bills, just running around.
no bills. Yeah, No, for sure. I mean, I think it's nice now though to be aware and to feel like you're conscious or like you're able to be a little bit more present, I guess. And not that you have to be that way when you're younger, but you obviously you don't think about that too much. You just want to enjoy the moment. You don't think about later how like this is, none of this is going to be constant. It's all going to change. So you're just enjoying it. So I guess technically that is being really present. Um, hmm. But anyways, but yeah, now at least I can like catch myself, and just kind of freeze and be like, oh, this is one of those moments where I should just be here and be grateful. So that part is nice, I guess. Yeah. Also very bittersweet, but yeah.
Yeah, I've had those moments. They're beautiful.
Yeah. No, yeah. Same with friends. I feel like friendships are uh really nice. Like when we hang out in our groups and we do our traditional birthday get-togethers. Um, I very much now I'm like so appreciative of it. Obviously, when Marcos was around, like you could just feel like how excited he was to like put these together and how meaningful it was just to be around, everyone
Oh
and to be
yeah, I
able to.
was with him most of the time when we were like planning, and she's seen him. He was just like trying to get the details, trying to get everyone, make everyone happy, trying to.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I think he taught us a lot
Yeah.
about appreciating those small little moments that sometimes we let go by. But those are really kind of make up
And then
important part of
somehow
life.
we always forgot. That's
Oh my
so-
gosh, yeah. We never learn until this day. I don't think we'll ever get it right.
It's either the candles, the spoons, the knives.
I'm always super
I'm,
late.
I mean,
Yeah.
he would be, he'd probably be laughing.
Oh yeah.
He's up there somewhere,
Oh, for sure.
he's laughing at us for the same mistake always.
That's part of the tradition. That's okay. But yeah.
But yeah, it's been, I mean, do you have family that also makes art, or are you the only artist in your fam?
No, I do, and it's really cool to see my younger cousins actually. I have one in Tijuana. His name is Byron, and he has been exhibiting his work a little bit more, and I've been just so proud to see that. I forget how old he is, but he's young, and um, he's just so sweet. And I always tell my mom whenever he invites me for an exhibition, like because my mom's the one that usually goes to Tijuana, so I'm like, hey, let's roll through, like, take me so we can go. And I think next year he's going to go to San Miguel de Allende, my dad's hometown, and one of my cousins lives over there now, so she's gonna let him use her like outside patio, so that they can display their work. So he has a group of friends that um, they exhibit together, and it's just really cool. And I really love seeing that. I think I have another second cousin. Um, I think she's in Texas. I'm sorry. Like we have a family all over the place, so I'm trying to remember. But she recently tagged me in a post of a drawing too, and just like letting me know like, oh, this is something I made, and I'm like, this is so cool. Like that's awesome. But I do have to mention uh the one that I always think about, and obviously has inspired me as well, has been my abuelito, so my dad's dad, mi abuelito Jesus. He was incredible. Like he was a sculptor and a architect, um, and I guess I don't know, but he did a lot. Like he could visualize. He can go into a room and visualize. The whole concept of how it was going to be built. He knew the mathematics to it. I don't know that whole thing, which I don't understand, but it was really cool to like kind of hear him talking about it. And I also got to see him work on his sculptures too. And he would work with it's called cantera stone, and he would carve into it. So I would just sit there and I could just like watch him for a good minute, and I remember being little and just like sitting in front of him, and he was just like carving, um, or like chipping away, and he would look over and just kind of smile or laugh, um, which was nice. It was really I always like look back and cherish that, especially kind of knowing his past and um, he kind of has a very cool demeanor to him, and I know a lot of that stems from the way he grew up, and unfortunately, like the things he's taught at his age and all that. But I think over the years he softened up a lot, and so by the time I got to meet him, you could definitely uh, feel his warmth. At least I did. I got to see that side of him, um, and I think we did connect on that level too, because he saw that I was very much into making art, and that I could appreciate what he was doing too. But yeah, he's a lot of his work is still out there in San Miguel de Allende.
Yeah, I think you told me once that like at his home, right? Because I asked you, I think if he like he sold it or something, and then you're like, no, he has it. You can actually see it.
Yeah, it's still there. They had their own like little apartamentos. So outside that whole area, it's filled with sculptures. Around San Miguel de Allende too, a lot of the bridges that were built, I guess he was the one that helped construct them, because at the time they weren't able to figure out, again, like the proper like mathematics or whatever it was that needed to be done in order to build like a sturdy bridge. And then my grandpa rolled up and was like, all right, get out of the way, guys, like this is what you do. And he showed one of my uncles to mi tío Güero, kind of that side of the business too. So he was really great at being able to build and construct. So yeah, if you guys ever get to go to San Miguel de Allende, look out for
Is
for
there like the street or
that.
you don't remember?
Yeah, I don't remember. Sorry. I'll try to. I'll talk to my dad. See what he says, and then later post it somewhere. Maybe if I
Yeah.
remember.
It'd be great, huh?
Yeah, I should share more photos too. I've shared here and there a few things, but I think it's hard to appreciate it unless you see it in person too. It's like one of those things that seeing it in person is wild. um, well, I guess that's with most art in general. I always advise people to see it if you can in person versus like on the phone. So
Yeah, I mean, definitely, like just seeing that, it's very inspirational.
yeah,
Because I know what a cantera is. That's like a very tough rock.
yeah, yeah. I don't know how I did it, but because I've worked with ceramics, and that's the opposite technique of building it and applying, removing, but also building and putting it together. Versus him, he would see it and visualize the negative spaces, and little by little take it all out to create what was underneath that big chunk of stone. So yeah.
You ever tried it before? That type of work where it's like
No.
taking it out instead of building it.
Trying to think with a different material. I don't think so. No, yeah, no, just ceramics. But not that type of technique.
I tried it once with wood.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, it didn't work.
Oh,
It
like
didn't work.
like a whole like little like
Yeah,
block of,
we actually glued pieces of wood
uh
like together, and then we started chipping at it. We were trying to do this. It's like a Zapotec deity,
oh,
but didn't come out. Like we just kind of gave up.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's.
'Cause
It
we were
definitely-
rushing it. We were just rushing. We were just like. "Cha, cha, cha."
I mean, that's kind of hard. That's your first hard, like a difficult first assignment too.
Mhm.
That you should have. I think you should go back to it. Maybe like practice first, like little pieces, and then get used to like.
Yeah, I don't know what we were thinking. We should have planned it out a little bit better.
I mean, oh, you just reminded me. I think we did do something like that for one of my classes. I did take a class where we worked with different materials, and wood was one of them. But they had machines too, so you could like sand things, and I forgot what one of them was called, but it basically spins the wood very quickly. So as you chip it away, like
Oh,
you
yeah.
create the designs.
Yeah.
So we got to try that out too.
Yeah, like you put it right, and it spins, and then you get like I guess like a plate or something. Just poke at
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
which is perfect.
yeah. And these these classes, are you talking about? You went to art center?
Mm,
Cause that's you took like art out there, right?
yeah,
You want to tell us a little about that, or just a quick?
sure. I technically have not graduated yet, which I know a lot of people think that. Unfortunately, it's very expensive. But I'm so close. I was there for maybe about 3, 4 years. I stopped going when the pandemic hit. I definitely uh did not want to graduate on a laptop screen. Like I put a lot into that school. I That's when I started commuting a lot because yeah, I live in Simi still. So when I first started, it was classes every day, basically out of the week. I think it was 5 classes total. So driving back and forth each day, a lot of sleepless nights, and that's what they expect out of you too. They have like signs everywhere too of like careful sleep zone or like careful with the like joking around like the with the
Oh
zombies,
shit!
like
Yeah,
because
yeah.
a lot of us don't sleep. They have a page on Instagram as well of people like where we'll randomly sleep. So people just sleep on top of desk, under desk, and
Man.
wherever. I remember that's where I learned how to a technique to help me like take a nap, but not long enough to like get into full sleep. So you did like wild shit. Like I remember people having Adderall, like it was like not
Yeah.
even like prescribed, like people just had it on them and they're like, "Oh, do you need some?" Like because of
Sure.
how intense that shit was. But I think for me, I am very thankful and appreciative. I know it's a huge privilege, obviously with all institutions, so it has a lot of uh, I guess sides to it that are not so fun. But I think at the time, like when I went, I needed that. Like I needed to be in a place that kind of it was like a boot camp for artists,
That
basically.
yeah, I mean sometimes that's what you need.
Yeah, and I don't think I'd be where I'm at now if it wasn't for that. But I did find community more outside of school. I did find very cool people in school, but I don't really relate too much to the to alumni that can tell you like, oh, they have mentors that they still go to, or like a lot of like groups of people from that school that they uh I don't know. Like I feel like I connected once I started like showing my work outside of art center. That's when I kind of found more community. So yeah, there's a lot to it, but I am very thankful. I would like to graduate at some point. That's one of my goals on my very long little list. But
I think you do it. Just time.
yeah,
Because especially you're a very busy artist, so you know.
yeah,
Even
uh,
today, we caught you at a time where I can tell you're very busy, and thank you for having this little chat with us today.
yeah, of course.
Right now, sorry to cut you off. We're gonna take a little break so we can take a little nap, but not full one, so we fall asleep. But
Yeah,
we'll be back,
we'll
guys.
do the technique that I was talking
Yeah,
about.
we're gonna learn from the master right here. Yeah, we'll be back. What is it? Stay tuned for the second half, and you guys take naps too. We'll be back. All right, guys, we're over here back from the nap. I think it was like 5 seconds. But yeah, again, we're Eskwilax Art 179 with Emilia Cruz. Woo. And we're just chatting it up about her work, her journey through art, and just having a little convo about past times. And my next question is, I mean, a lot of people that when they see your work, they see a lot into it. They see there's a lot of detail. Like, what kind of like
where do you get your ideas from, or how do you go about creating a piece?
A lot of different places. I think a lot of my work is, the easiest way to describe it is they're almost like excerpts, if that's a word, from like tearing out pages from my own journal or diary, because I've never been someone who has been able to speak very eloquently. I guess over the years I've gotten a little bit better, but it's still very hard for me to say what I need to say, or how to process my emotions or anything that I want to say with words. That's always been a difficult thing for me. So I think I'm very lucky that I've been able to visually express it, and I think that's where it stems from. But then after that, there's so many different aspects of life that I just want to capture, and I would like to continue capturing. I think my work is primarily, like I said, it stems from my own journey, my own self, and digging into, this sometimes very dark brain of mine. But it's also a celebration of like the people that I've been able to meet in my life, celebrating also women of color primarily, always centering that message, because I think for me that's something that I really needed as a little girl, looking at not even just in galleries or museums, but at different media, TV shows, anything. I was always just searching for a reflection, or that kind of, I guess, which you don't need, or you shouldn't have to look for that, but as a kid you do. You look for validation, I guess, in other sources that you are enough, and being able to see yourself in artwork or anything, like I said, different media is more important than I think people realize sometimes. So that's something that later on I caught on to, and I decided, I'm going to be part of that narrative that's, highlighting that now. Something that I think a lot of us needed growing up, and I love seeing more of it now, and especially with social media, we've been able to connect with more artists, living artists too, whereas growing up, it was always this thought that, you can't make it, I guess, as a successful artist while you're alive, especially not me being a little brown girl. It seems so far-fetched, but now that's obviously not the case. We can see that through other people, your own peers, but yeah. So going back to your question, yeah, there's so many different things that inspire my work, but I think it's just life in general, of what I see, what I feel. I guess it goes back to, I guess, just me trying to just document whatever my crazy brain was trying to say or going through.
I actually, I've told you in the past, which one of your paintings is my favorite. It's the one with the red shirt.
Oh yeah,
So,
that's self-portrait.
Yeah, the self-portrait, yeah. So a while back, when I did take a look at it, it actually had some words on it. It was like a prayer. And I remember reading, I was like, oh crap, that's really strange, because that prayer, I didn't, that was my favorite, that is my favorite painting of yours. But those words, I actually used to repeat them when I was a little kid, because I grew up, in a Catholic household. So my grandma, I was 8, 7, she was like, whenever you're afraid, you're scared, say this prayer. It's, I think it's,
Angelita de la Guarda.
Ajá,
La
ajá.
niña.
the Angelita de la Guarda, I don't know.
Dulce compañía.
No me dejes solo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I saw that in your work, I was like, holy crap, that opened a whole big memory of mine, and it got me really, because it was already my favorite painting, but I was like, oh crap, that's even deeper than what I thought it was, because I didn't know there was like that was in there until I looked it up closely.
Yeah.
Can you tell me anything else that I missed in that painting?
Um, I'm trying to remember the writing because I do remember writing that, and then I remember writing something else, but even I forget. Like I literally, I remember I just used to. I still do it here and there, but in a lot of my older pieces, I would just write down things that I was thinking of in that moment, and a lot of the times I'm like, this is like 3 a.m. or I've pulled an all-nighter, and so my brain's just not functioning well. So I just write things down, whatever's going through my mind. So I often don't remember it, and sometimes I'll cover it up, and I'll leave just little sections of it open. But yeah, those are kind of little Easter eggs, I guess I like to leave in there. But that one, I did specifically remember wanting to add that because that piece was, it was a self-portrait. So sometimes with my pieces, I use myself as a reference, and I don't really intentionally want it to be a self-portrait, so it's not really talking about me per se. But that one, it was very purposely a self-portrait. So I wanted to add different components at the time that I guess I wanted to discuss with my own identity and myself. And I think at that time I was reflecting on also growing up Catholic, and luckily not a very like heavy religious like household. Like I've heard some of my friends that have gone through that and have dealt with religious trauma. It definitely did teach me some narratives that I later had to unlearn though. But one thing I did hold on to was the fact that there are, connections to, religion and spirituality, and I am a spiritual person. And I think at the time, I couldn't really understand it from the perspective of my grandma. So my grandma would say that prayer to me too, and we would always pray it every night before going to sleep, and it was just like a routine. But at a certain point, I got really angry with all these prayers or just religion in general. I was like, why are we doing this? Like, and like certain teachings, like I said, I really was against. I was like, no, like this isn't right. Like I don't want to, go along with this shit. And so first stage is like that anger, and then obviously going back to it later and understanding.
Okay, no, like this is how my grandma saw it, and for her that prayer was casting like a protection spell, I guess, and just wanting to know that I always have a safety net around me. So even that she's not, even now that she's not here, I can think back to that and admire that this is a routine that we had every night together. Even though I don't say that prayer anymore, it's still something I think about because it connects me to my grandma. So I think that piece was speaking a little bit about that and religion. And I think in the piece too, I'm wearing a cross necklace that's breaking off. So kind of hinting again at that whole notion of, growing up with religion, but breaking away from it at a certain point. But also coming back to a spiritual place. Like it's not, I'm not religious, but I'm very much, I still hold on to like connections. I do have, prayers, but it's not, again, it's not what you learn in the churches or with Catholicism, if I'm saying that right. It's just your own, your own ties, and now just connecting to your own roots and being able to have that connection with ancestors and spirit and earth and all that. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I grew up Catholic, like yourself, but also, yeah, like after a while, I was questioning that, and I was like, oh, I kind of don't want to follow it this way. I'm just kind of following what I feel like is right,
Yeah.
and I respect what my grandpa, my mom, my father, they grew up with that stuff,
Yeah.
and they had the reasons why they grew up with it. So I kind of just made peace with them. I'm just like, oh, that's what you guys grew up with, and this is what
Yeah.
the life I'm living now. It's kind of like a different thing, but I also respect what you guys are,
Yeah.
especially because my parents grew up in Mexico, so it's like bigger over there.
Yeah.
And here it's like different, just a different life.
No, for sure. My grandma was definitely more of the religious person. My parents They were during a period of time. I remember they would every time I'd pass a church, my dad would, same thing. Yeah,
Persínate.
persinate, like all little things like that. And then eventually, like I said, I went through that that first stage of just like no, like we're like heavily rejecting it, and I would get annoyed with him, and be like, nah, I'm gonna voy a rezar, and like obviously now I would approach it differently if that was like what something he would ask for. I would respect it now. Back then, I was, an angry teenager. But even them, yeah, they've grown apart from it. I think they respect it too as well, but I don't think they're heavily religious or not like how I feel like it used to be, at least. But no, for sure, my grandma. Like I have a lot of memories of going to church with her. Um, one that was, I guess, kind of funny that. Oh, well, I don't know. Sorry, grandma. But at the time, maybe not that funny. But now looking back, I can laugh a little bit. But so I was in high school. My mom caught me pretty drunk one night. She obviously pissed the next day and told me to go to church with my grandma. She's like, "Te vas a ir a rezar con tita," and I was like, "No, obviously not hungover." I'm like, "I don't want to do that." And we went to church, and my grandma's asleep the whole time. So I'm stuck there like listening to all the prayers and the priest and whatnot, and my grandma's just like taking a nap the whole time. So I just thought that was
Say
kinda,
you got yourself
yeah.
into this. I'm just
Like,
here.
this is for you, girl. Like, yeah. So, but yeah, that's good times, I guess. I don't know.
You were very close with your grandma, huh?
Yeah, at a certain point, though, uh, mm, so she passed away when I was kind of in my late teens or about to, I think, graduating high school. Um, I was very close with her growing up. Like I said, I would spend a lot of my childhood summers with her. She took care of me a lot. But unfortunately, yeah, during the time that she was passing away, I was just very caught up in my own little world and whatever, you know, problems that I was going through in my head. I think I was also just have experiencing like heavy, the start of certain mental illnesses too that I didn't have the terminology for it then, or it was still very taboo. So obviously I wasn't doing anything to heal it or to fix the problem. So it just kept kind of getting worse over time. So I am always really sad to like look back and be like, oh man, like she passed away during a time where like I was very unaware and not very conscious in life, and just uh it's definitely something I wish I could go back and like redo certain things or just talk to her more because I have so many questions now. And I ask my mom a lot. She just someone that I really admire, and that the more I hear about her, the more I want to know. And like I'm like, damn, like I really wish she was here still, but that's how it goes sometimes. But yeah, she was a badass. My mom's mom. She was from Nayarit, so I would really love to visit at some point. But yeah, she grew up there, and she was just really cool. Like I think at that time too, like she was doing a lot of things that weren't very up to like societal standards, I guess. Never, I think, married. Um, what's it called? Went to a lot of. My mom was telling me too, like recently with the protests that I've been going to. She was like, ah, eres como tu abuelita. Ella también siempre andaba allá peleando or something. Like she would just like joke around, like, oh yeah, she was in the protest too, and just always like preaching to my mom, like, no, you gotta be, when you're passionate about something, like you have to be able to voice it. And just a lot. There was a lot of like cool things about her that I'm like looking back and I'm like, just yeah, feeling grateful for, but also sad that I didn't ask enough questions.
No, I know exactly where you're coming from. My grandma passed like 2 years ago,
I remember.
and yeah, I mean, like when she was around, obviously, I was like, "Oh, hey, grandma." I would talk to her through the phone here and there, not so much. because like you're saying, I wish I would have talked to her more,
Mm.
because she was always, every time I would call her or talk to her, she was like very happy to see me, very joyful.
Mm.
And yeah, now that she's not here, now I hear stories about her. People are like, oh, like grandma was super smart, that she even had friends in like Mexico City. I was like, Mexico City, like how? And they're like, yeah, like apparently she had lived in Mexico City for a bit or visited, and like she was supposed to become a doctor, but then she had like some kids, and then more kids, and then more kids, and more kids.
Man, doctor.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, like they're like, yeah, like, because I guess like neighbors or people who knew her from when she was younger showed up and like talked to my mom, and they're like, yeah, like she was smart, like your mom was very very smart woman.
Dang.
And I was like, wow, like I wish I'd like you said, talk to her a little bit more about that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it's hard when you're, especially younger. Like I said, that's something you don't often think about too much, like the constant changes or things that nothing is ever constant. Like everything's ever changing. We always feel like, oh, this is something I'm gonna have forever. Obviously, like we know it's not the case, but it's just easier to think that way because we don't want to think about like at some point, someone's not gonna be here with us anymore, and
Yeah.
or you know things like that. So yeah, it's hard, but I think that's what's beautiful about storytelling too. I think that definitely inspires a lot of my work is the art of storytelling, and especially within like our families, I feel like we're very much like we love sitting around and just we call it chismeando, but like it's a lot of like really important shit that we like pass on, like history of our tios, tias, abuelitos.
I think now that we're getting older, we become like the tios and tias that are sit around
Oh good.
the fire,
Yeah.
and then we're like, hey, like remember when you were young, and then like you did this and you did that. Oh, remember when they did that, and then
You're calling us old. No, yeah. That's true though. I know it's a trip though. I'm like, man. Yeah,
I'm
I
just
don't
saying.
it but it's weird because I don't even feel that age either. Like realizing like we're like, oh shit, we're at that age now. Like how we used to view our tios and tias, and we're here, and I'm like, what?
But I think it's because like we all just kind of live different lives than what
Yeah.
they did.
Yeah.
When
sure.
they were coming up, a lot of them were like, oh, by like 20, you have to have like 10 kids.
Oh
And,
my god.
now we're more kind of like stepping outside of that.
Oh yeah.
And we're more just like, hey, like we actually want to pursue like other things like art, business and just
Yeah.
different things in life rather than just what is the standard or the pressures of doing certain things at a certain age.
Yeah, no, for sure. I know. I never would have imagined I am who I am now as a 30-year-old. As a kid, you always think, oh, like, I'm going to have certain things at this age or be a certain way. Like, and also you think the 30 is really old, and then you're here, you're like, no.
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like more childish than ever sometimes. But,
Yeah, I think it's also because at around this age, like we start healing. Like I haven't
yeah,
gone
that's true.
to a therapist or any of that, but I've learned to like from other people's experiences and the knowledge that I pick up here and there that yeah, once you start healing certain things in you, like you said, you start feeling more like free to be yourself at
Mm,
this age rather than your 20s when you're trying to do I don't know the whole college thing or have a family thing.
that's
But
true.
when you pass that hurdle and then you're like, hey, like I'm like 30 now and you know what? Like this is time to heal.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I definitely feel that. Definitely very much uh can relate to that. I think in your 20s, you're so like caught up on like
Mm-hmm.
getting shit right. You're like, okay, I have to like do this, this, and this because at this age I have to be doing this, and and then you get there and you're like, fuck, I don't know what I'm doing. Like it's not, it doesn't go that way. Like nothing is. I think we're also very caught up on this whole idea that everything's very linear. And once you let go of that and you realize, no, there's a lot of different cycles. Nothing is ever linear. Nothing ever goes like in a straight path. It's just a never ending, like just, I guess I like to look at it as a swirl now of like everything just like weaves back together at a certain point. Um, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I can see a lot of like that, in your work. Like for example, this one. I don't know if the camera can see it up there. That you can like, cause this, I don't know, this wasn't in my time growing up. Selfies weren't a thing.
Oh yeah.
And then like in this painting, this is like a timestamp.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh no, for sure. I think I love that about art too, that you see, um, you can just really see where you or where the artist is in that moment of time, and it becomes, how do I say, like you're leaving history, I guess, or you're creating history, maybe. I don't know if that makes sense, but which I mean, yeah, it's the case. Like we're learning, we in school or when you take classes on art history, um, they're documenting a certain time period, and even if they don't mean to, because they're that's just where they are in life, and or that's what they're living. Um, Obviously, we don't realize till generations later how impactful that piece is or what that piece was about. um, so yeah. I don't know.
Well, yeah. What like I don't remember what year, like Frida lived. Frida lived in like what in the 30s, 40s, or even a little bit
I think so. Nah,
50s.
sorry. I'm really bad with. I have no memories. My
Well, like like when
bad
she
memory,
was
I mean.
painting that stuff, I'm pretty sure she didn't realize that it was gonna have a huge impact on like generations and generations of people.
Yeah.
Because growing up, that was like one of the only few people that I would find very interesting in art. Like, they had Siqueiros, they had Diego, um, well, what's the guy's name? Botero.
Oh
The
yeah,
guy, the guy,
yeah.
yeah, the guy with
The book you gave me.
yeah, yeah. And
I know. There's some artists though that I recently have been finding. Oh, what's her last name? Maria Izquierdo. Oh, I hope I'm not saying the
did
wrong
she live
last name,
around the same time they did?
but around the
Yeah.
same time, and she her work was very beautiful too, and it should have been as influential. But it's sad that like I feel like we have a lot of artists that should have been highlighted throughout the years, but just unfortunately got overshadowed. But definitely, yeah, there's a lot of like uh really cool artists that like you said, been documenting, their.
Yeah, because a lot like Diego, a lot of his stuff was involved with like the political movements back then,
Mhm.
and that's what you could say when he lived. That was what he was like living. Even though now maybe some people don't agree with those politics, but that's like like that's what he was doing at that time,
Yeah.
and that's what I was talking about this painting where it's like a selfie. 100 years from now, I don't know if people are gonna be like, oh, remember when selfies started?
Oh my god. No, that's true. I thought at the time when I made this, it was more of a, I guess like a joke, just because I was going through my phone and trying to look for a picture that I could use for a self portrait, since I hadn't made a clear self portrait. Like I said, sometimes I'll just use myself as a reference, but this one was intentionally a self portrait. And I just found it really funny that I'm taking a picture in front of two paintings that also happen to use myself as a reference. So I don't know at the time. Like I just thought it was more just for like shits and giggles. But like you said, it's later on. It someone that finds this is going to think, oh, this is this is
Well,
very much a 2000 or late
yeah, well, even now, like I
2000
see it
piece.
as like someone from Gen Z would definitely be like, "Hey, I can relate to that,"
Mm.
because maybe people that are a little bit older than us, they'll be like, "Oh, what is she doing in that painting? Why does it look like that?" But like someone like a Gen Zer would be like, "Oh, it's a selfie,
Yeah,
yeah, in a painting,
that's true.
yeah." And you say it was like I guess like a joke kind of thing you were saying,
Yeah, I
like a
mean, in the
funny,
moment,
yeah, in
yeah,
the
I was just
moment.
like, this is maybe
Reminds me
silly.
of the painter from like I don't know, he's from the Renaissance. I don't know if you ever seen his work. He's like always doing like joke paintings. This was like
Which one?
I forgot his name, but all he would paint was just people doing like random things. They were never serious.
Oh, damn. No,
Yeah,
that's
he was
funny.
like a meme like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
forgot that meme.
maybe I've seen it. I don't know.
I forgot. I think it was like Get. money and something else, but it was I don't know. If I find it, I'll show it to you.
Okay, yeah, send it to me.
But so right now, as far as your work, are you working on anything that like for a show or for an exhibit where people can meet you and say hi to you?
Um, I need to. I need to get back to making some pieces, but I currently have a piece up in. Where am I going?
The
Oh,
Tonali?
oh, there we go. A little piece there at Tonali Studio. I'm not sure how long that's going to be up now, but if by the time this goes up, it's still open, the show, definitely go check out Tonali Studio. It, it it's a beautiful space in general. They have a really beautiful shop there too, and right now they have altares of ofrendas. No, but also the other one I'm thinking of is going to be at the that opening's this week, but it should be up for a couple months. That one's going to be up at Cheech, the Cheech Marine Museum, in Riverside. So this week's going to be the opening, but y'all are in the future right now, so it's up already. But I have a piece up there that I just finished not too long ago. And there's another exhibit coming up. I'm trying to remember. Oh, Shimaya's reopening. I'm not sure if they're using the same name, but I just keep calling it Shimaya.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think they might keep it just because that's how it's heavily known for. But Shimaya's reopening, and I think that'll be up in December. So I usually try to post it on my accounts, but so just kind of keep a lookout, or on my website if I remember, I'll keep it updated on the artists
Oh,
section.
yeah, what is your website?
EmiliaCruz.com. www. No, you don't have to put W. So just EmiliaCruz.com. But yeah, so if I ever disappear of social media for some reason, I have my website. So, which important to all artists. If you can get a website portfolio going, highly recommend. It's good to have. So, yeah.
And then before we head out, I wanted to talk a little about your chibi work.
Chibis. Yeah.
Chibis. How'd you get into that? How do you?
I like cute things. So there's the part of my brain that, or there's the side of me that will create these very detailed figurative pieces that drive me to the brink of insanity. And to counteract that, I think I started making illustrations that were very cute, and those came out of like the ones that you're talking about. I made like a little zine a while back ago of self-portrait chibi, or chibi self-portrait. And so basically during school, uh, again, reiterating the fact that we were dying, yo. Like we were running on very low percent energy, just constantly creating, making projects, being put to work. A lot of us were just like holding on by like a little thin hair. So one of the things I started doing was drawing myself, like going through this shit. So little chibi me was just like, either like uh, laying on the floor, uh, crying, or like sleeping on the table, just little like depictions of what my inner self was going through, my little monologue, but making it silly and light just because you do what you do at that point. And it just kind of made fun of or made light of like the fact that I really was having a difficult time just staying alive in that moment. But yeah, so those I just would draw them throughout my classes. It would help me stay awake too. I would sketch, and eventually I had like a whole little collection of it. And I just have fun doing it. So, for like your birthdays, I like making little chibi portraits. It's not really something I do, for like this where I intentionally
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
exhibit it or sell it or anything like that. These are more like things that I like to do for my own self, and I found that like very important too, to have things that you can just do that aren't about selling, because at a certain point I love what I do, but it gets really difficult to balance it and just to um mm, just yeah, have a good balance of creating for yourself and creating what you want to create versus thinking about like, shit, I have to make a living, what am I going to sell? Like, how, where am I going to get money for the bills later? So like obviously like that kind of goes into your artwork at a certain point, or it bleeds into your artwork. So finding little like outlets that have nothing to do with that, so where you are just creating for yourself for fun. um I try to do that here and there. It's hard, but yeah, those are one of the little things that I found.
They are fun. The chibis are fun.
Yeah, I like making those.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's like the side of illustration, or the more illustrative part of myself. But does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah, it's a different side from again the fine artwork that I display, but I like having that balance. I actually have ideas that I want to those I do for fun, but I do actually want to make a collection later of little things, um, mm, like the little clay keychains that I would
Oh,
make of
yeah.
people,
Yeah, that's
but
right. Yeah.
more of my own, little characters. Um, it's
You
in the
handmade
back of my
those,
head.
right? Back when you were making them, you were hand making them.
Yeah,
The little keychains.
yeah. So they take a minute, but those are fun. So see, again, those are little things that I find outside of just painting or having like certain projects that I have to do. Um, just little things that I just enjoy just for the sake of it. Just for just to make in general, like just sometimes creating for the sake of creating. um, yeah,
Great. Thank you for sharing that about the chibis.
yeah.
My last question is, if you could go back in time and talk to like, I don't know, like 7-year-old, 8-year-old Emilia, what would you tell her? How
Oh,
is
oh, don't do that. You're gonna make me emotional. Damn, I do that a lot actually. I sit in I guess meditation. I don't heavily meditate anymore. Or it's really hard for me. I know it's a practice you have to continue, but just lately it's been impossible. Anyways, but back when I would do it a little bit more often, or even times where I could just sit and reflect, and it's not really a full on meditation. Um, I do try to get in touch with myself, um, or during times where I feel like certain things come up that I know younger. It's coming from a myself that's younger, I guess. And I'll do this thing where I actually talk to that side of, or that part of me, that's there. So it makes me think like, oh, I'm like uh, talking through like a microphone that's like reaching my past self, and like telling her, hey, listen up. I have some shit to tell you. No, but yeah, that is something I do where I'll try to talk to my younger self and just kind of visualize to me hugging her and letting her know like, hey, like you're gonna be fine. Like you're good. Like you're really timid. You're really I guess at that age too. I mean throughout my whole life, I've had a lot of self doubt, a lot of self esteem issues. I did not see myself in a what is it? I
positive?
Yeah, I always viewed myself very like small and would invalidate myself in a lot of ways. And it sometimes it didn't even come out from or come from outside sources. I think just for some reason I was just always viewing myself in a very negative light. So I would definitely go back and hug her and let her know like, hey, you are enough. Like you're good. Like you're really hard on yourself even at a young age, and you're gonna continue being that way even into your adult years. But yeah, I think a lot of little kids just need that in general, like letting us know like you're good. Like um yeah, I don't know. That's basically yeah, just letting her know like
I mean, the reason I asked that question is because like I've shown your work to like my nieces and just younger brown like little girls, and they always they can relate to your work, and it's like
mm,
they'll be like, wow, like who did that? And I'll be like, oh, it's this person or this artist, and they're like, oh, like that's like me.
Mm, yeah, I think that's definitely something that um, I'm always really grateful for, and it's still kind of hard to believe and see. And the moments where I'm still like self-doubting, or have a lot of self-doubt or questioning, like why am I doing this shit, or is it even important? Like I'll snap out of I'll snap out of it by remembering like uh other people are watching that look like you, or like they can relate to you. Little, or think about little you that if my past self could see me now, and see what I'm doing and creating artwork that I wish I could have seen at that age. Like, um, that's incredible and weird to think about at the same time. But yeah, anytime like I get pictures of people sending me like of their kid next to my painting, or I remember there was a year where they were doing like a trend of people dressing up like artwork.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I had people send photos of their daughters or their sisters posing as that picture of my little sister holding the Barbie dolls.
Oh yeah,
And that definitely made me emotional. I was like, oh my god, this is, yeah. I don't know. I'm very thankful. Yeah.
No, I mean, as a viewer myself, I want to thank you. It's very inspirational what you do, and thank you for sitting with us today. Share a little bit more about yourself,
Ooh, thank you for having me.
and yeah, hopefully down the line, 10 years from now, we sitting here again on the Eskwilax Hour. I don't know, maybe 1,000 episode, but
Woohoo.
yeah,
For sure. We'll catch up.
we'll be back. Thank you guys again. The Eskwilax Hour, 179, Emilia Cruz,
Woohoo.
and we'll be back next week.
Be on the lookout.